Hey y'all, it's J7D with Talk to Me, J7D. Today's message is how to improve communication in relationships. How to improve your communication skills or communication in relationships. I wanted to share something that I've been doing recently in my new relationship, in my new partnership. What has it been? Okay, so when we communicate, like say if he says something to me, right? I'll take it, I'll process it. But before I process it, like before I go too far in with it, I'll share with him how I internalized it. So say he'll say, I really want to tell you this lasagna story, but I know it's so petty and so childish, and the way I internalized it was so stupid. But I wanted to make lasagna. He wanted to make salmon or whatever, right? So I'm like, so when he was telling me he wanted to make the fish and rice and vegetables, in my head, I caught it, and it was so funny. I'm like, yo, I really internalized that as if you didn't want my lasagna. Like, you think your food is better than my food because we just did that whole question thing, and it said that you was the cook, and like whatever. But that's how I internalized it, and we laughed about it because I was super duper serious. Like, I was so serious, and he was like, I wasn't even saying it like that or whatever. But I'm realizing in relationships and partnerships that if you don't share how you are internalizing what they're saying in that moment and you just sit on it, you're going to get mad. Like, I have found myself I used to get so upset with people based off of what I heard them say. But then I had to pause that and say, okay, they said this. They may have meant it this way, but I'm taking it this way. So once I was able to like break that down and then share with the person how I take it, then they'll be able to say, you give them that. That's how you start that open line of communication. They'll be able to say, yo, I didn't even mean it like that. And 9 times out of 10, they probably really didn't. They just said it this way. You took it this way based off of all your stuff that you've dealt with in the past, or your traumas that you've never dealt with in the past. I internalized it this way. And the one thing that I've realized is, say if I share with him how I internalize something, and once I'm open about that and I'm vulnerable about that, and I don't care how he's going to respond about how I internalized it, I'm now able to get to the root as to why I internalized it the way I internalized it. Sometimes it could be rejection. Sometimes it could be abandonment. Sometimes it could be a lack of self-love. Sometimes it could be anything. But until you're able to come to grips with, this is the way I'm internalizing it. I understand you didn't mean it this way, but I just want to share with you so I can be open with you how you're making me feel. And I get so many phone calls. Like, all my friends are in like relationships, and everyone that I'm around is in a relationship. And when I get these phone calls, I'm just like, yo, I understand to you it wasn't a big deal, especially with guys. I want to say one of my friends' names out, but I know he would kill me. But one of my friends in particular, he always calls me about his girlfriend. And I'm like, yo, I get what you're saying, but you have to have you have to take into consideration the way she's internalizing it. He can't get it. And I'm like, y'all not going to work because you don't have no type of compassion for how she's internalizing it. Like, I get mad for her, for him, even though he's right, because he just doesn't understand how that internalization thing can work. His whole thing is, if I say this, you take it as this, and this is what I meant. And I'm like, yo, it doesn't work that way. Depending on the trauma that person has experienced, they're going to hear something completely different from what you said. So it's your responsibility to say, look, I want open lines of communication, especially if you're in something new. With me and my partner, this is new for us. So I told him from the beginning, yo, this foundation, while we're building and laying this foundation, I want open lines of communication. I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly finding new things out about myself. I want it to be open. It's going to have to be open in order for me to stay. And that's how we built that. But it's one of those things, it's powerful when you can just look at yourself and say, damn, my past trauma is still affecting me in this way, and this is why I'm internalizing it this way. It's super dope. It's super powerful for you to come to grips with who you are and why you are the way you are. And just once you figure out who you are and why you are the way you are, just please know you do not have to stay that way. You don't have to stay that way. Once you hold yourself accountable, you're sending a signal out there to say, yo, I'm ready for change. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to blossom. I'm ready to be in something that's not toxic. I'm ready to have friends that don't talk about me. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for that. You feel me? Like, you putting out a signal that's saying, you know what? I'm ready for change. I'm ready for growth. But first I must hold myself accountable. And that's what I do. Like, that's what we do. With that particular conversation, like, yo, I internalized it this way. And then I find our conversations going into a whole like therapy session. And it's such a beautiful thing because we be up to like 4 a.m, like, yo, I never even knew that still bothered me. I never, like with him, he lost his mom. So a couple weeks ago, we were having a conversation and he broke down about losing his mother. And I'm like, damn, like he felt like he got over it. But I think a couple weeks ago, he realized you can never really get over you can't really get over that. Or not even you can't get over it, but you have to just deal with some of those things from your childhood. Like, you can't keep going. That's not what I mean when I say keep going. Like, nah, keep going, but slow down as well. Like, slow down and figure out why you are the way you are and why you deal with things the way you deal with things. I hope this helps because I'm like all over because there's so much that I want to share, but I want to stay on this particular topic. Internalization. The way you internalize has a lot to deal with your past experiences. Talk to me, J70. If you have any questions, write them below. I'm answering everything because we're on quarantine and I'm here. So if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. I hope I hope my friend didn't figure out I was talking about him, but I'm really serious. Like, he always calls me about his girl and I just be like, yo, you just don't understand the way she's internalizing. She's not even open enough to share with you. She can't even trust you enough to open up to share why she's taking it in the way that she's taking it in. But that's a whole nother story. Talk to me, J70.